Welcome to the next revision video. This video is being shot in April 2022, keeping May and November 22 attempt in mind. In further attempts, if there are no amendments, this video can be referred. So this is for CA final audit, internal management and operational audit, a 50-55 page topic which students normally leave it in option, but we will ensure that you no more leave it in option. All right. So when it comes to this topic, there are three discussions. Look at it, three topic like internal management and operation audit. First, let us finish off the discussion of internal audit, then we will go ahead. All right, do not think about management and operational audit when I'm discussing internal audit. All right, so when it comes to internal audit, everyone is aware about this, that internal audit is an audit of internal control system, correct? Yes. So first they have given the definition. I've done my markings. We will do it from the ICA module only so that there is no issue. Correct. So first, in that definition that they have given, they say internal auditing is an independent assurance activity. Correct. Although I don't agree on its independence, but ठीक है चलो, independent assurance activity. And they say that internal audit is something that is going to govern ROMIL. Alright, an activity which is going to govern ROMIL. So it will look after governance, that is whether management, ECWG are performing their duties and the transparency within the entity. And then ROMIL, as you can see over here, risk management, R for risk management, O for operations, M for monitoring the controls, yes, I for the information that is getting generated, whether that is accurate or not, and L for compliance with laws and regulations. So that is how govern ROMIL. You please remember that is the definition of internal auditing, to provide independent assurance on effectiveness of internal control, and majorly it will include govern ROMIL activities. Correct? Okay. Now you can get a question over here. See, please remember, objective and scope of internal audit govern ROMIL. Don't forget that. Alright, you can get a question over here on one of the favorite discussions of internal auditing, and that is section 138 of Companies Act 2013. In section 138, applicability, eligibility, everything is given, but normally we see that final year students are experts when it comes to section 138. So I will not waste time in highlighting something just because it can increase the TRP of my video. You are already aware about this. These videos are made for the boring parts that you do not do it. But still, section 138 applicability, every listed company, every listed company has to appoint internal auditor. Every unlisted public company, for every unlisted public company, you have these limits: paid up share capital, turnover, outstanding loans from banks and public financial institutions, outstanding deposits. If any of these limit is satisfied, if even one of this limit is satisfied, then internal audit becomes applicable. Once applicable, it is always applicable. All right, just be careful whenever you are reading numerical limits. You have to focus on what you are reading. All right, then you have to focus on the when part, like over here, during the preceding financial year, and then you're supposed to focus on how much. So whenever we discuss numerical limits, always focus on three things: what, when, how much. For example, when it comes to outstanding loans or borrowings, look at this: loans from banks, public financial institution, rupees 100 crore or more. So what and how much is done, but when? At any point of time during the preceding financial year. So it's not only the last year's balance sheet date position, at any point of time during the preceding financial year. So means at some point of time also it went above rupees 100 crore. Then later on, let us say it was squared up. Still from this year onwards, internal audit will become applicable. Am I clear with this? Yes. Then always when I say something, please stay focused. When I say that, focus on the what, when and how much part. So look at this: loans or borrowings from banks, public financial institution, means borrowings from other body corporates are not covered over here. Whereas if you see applicability of IFC, there for private company, they consider borrowings from body corporate also. So please be careful. They are worried only about banks and public financial institution, the loans and borrowings taken from them. Otherwise, just as a shortcut, look at this: start from 25, 25, double 50, 50, double 100, 100, double 200. Correct? But it is important to focus on all parts, that is what, when and how much. For private company, turnover and loans borrowings limits are getting repeated over here. Alright. So take some time, do this properly, and then continue with the video so that you can finish up the revision with me itself. Alright, now once the company gets covered under the above criteria, 6 months from the commencement of such applicability, they need to appoint the internal auditor. Now the point is, who can be appointed as internal auditor? CA, CMA or such other similar professional, whether engaged in practice or not. So you know that internal auditor may or may not be an employee of the company. So the applicability, eligibility part is very easily done by students, section 138, and you can solve this illustration, which is a very simple illustration given over here. Alright. Then, yeah, there's one more illustration over here, not a problem at all. Now, the parts that are not done by the students properly when it comes to internal audit are these parts. What are the main responsibilities of internal auditor? Wherever there is internal control, you will find the responsibility of internal auditor. So even his responsibility is to act like a monitoring control, So to maintain adequate control system, for proper processes, to prevent, detect fraud and error. So, to maintain adequate control system. However, the major responsibility is whenever he's acting as internal auditor, he needs to be independent. He needs to stay different from the executive. That means he himself should not be the manager of a particular activity, correct? Then how will he conduct internal audit? So he should be different from executives, correct? He needs to observe the facts, situations, and do a critical appraisal. That means critical evaluation, examination of the data. Then he needs to work in close association with the management. Only then he will be able to communicate his reports freely. All right. So adequate CODI, adequate control system, then CODI, DOKI, whatever it is, you can put it. So CODI over here, close association with the management. O for observation and critical appraisal. D, it should be different from executive, and I for independent operation. There are too many code words in this particular topic. So yes, the only thing that you are supposed to do is ensure that you spend some time with the code words. You may have your own code words wherever you have studied. All right. If you have studied earlier under me, I may have given you a code word, or if you have studied under someone else, you may have a code word from there. But ensure that you are coding this topic a little bit. Only then you will develop a proper expertise on what are the questions to be written. Answers to be written. Listen to me. Ensure that you're also by hearting the question. All right, because normally in this topic it has been seen the students do not have any connection with the question, and they do some points here and there. Then they end up making a list of general points and vomiting it in the paper. That will not give you the marks. At least 2 to 3 points of your answer need to tally with the suggested answer. So the main responsibilities of internal auditor are adequate CODI. All right. Okay. I will be highlighting that what question they will ask. Now over here, question could be main responsibility. So up till now, how many questions done? One is that objective scope, correct? Then one is that objective scope, govern Romil. Then one is this applicability, eligibility stuff, section 138. Then responsibilities. Just make such kind of list of questions in your mind. Departmentalize your mind in that manner. All right. Sometimes internal auditor is given an operational role, but internal auditor should say it very clearly to the management that I cannot be the ultimate leader of the role, and I cannot take the ultimate decisions over there, which are next time going to be internal audited by me itself. All right. So I can be a little bit part of limited operational role, but I cannot be the leader of a process. All right. He can be leader only of internal audit process. No? Now, there is one more discussion which they have given. They are saying that internal auditor should review each of the managerial functions. All that is fine. But they are saying broadly the scope of internal audit's work should include a review of. Now, be careful. If they ask you objective and scope of internal audit, which they put up earlier, then govern Romil, we have this over here. Explain each point in few lines and finish it off. Alright. However, if they put a separate question, which is the points are very much similar. What I'm going to teach now is very much similar to govern Romil. But I would expect a different presentation of the answer. Now this is the sad story of the discussion over here, that the scope of internal audit's work should include a review of. Alright, so it should include a review of what? Review of. Scope should include review of. The coverage should conduct examination of what? Alright, so if they ask this particular question, then Gori, control my AC. Sorry. So you see this, as an internal auditor, I want to see whether goals, objectives have been achieved or not, goals of the entity. Then whatever is the organizational structure. Wait, what is organizational structure? Who reports to whom? What are the division of authority responsibility? All right, is there a complete clarity in the organizational structure? So this is a little bit more detailed answer of what an internal auditor should cover. All right, scope and objective. Now this is more about scope, the coverage part. All right. So if you get objective scope, govern Romil. If you get scope should include a review of, you have to go with this. Sad story, but we are all here to clear the exam, so we need to adjust with this. So GORI, G for goals, O for organizational structure, R for utilization of resources, whether there is optimum utilization of resources, input output ratio. All right, checking the efficiency. I for information, so whether the information is relevant, reliable, logical, understandable, yes, comparable, trustworthy. Okay, then control, the whole internal control system and procedure internal auditor should review. Then AC, A for assets, A very important part for management, whether who is having the assets and how they are being safeguarded. And then C, compliance with plans, policies, procedures, laws, regulations. So it is not compliance only with laws and regulations, but compliance with the internal policies and procedures also. Now every single point can be expanded. And listen, organizational structure, there's such kind of points they can ask as separate question of 3 marks also. So what I would prefer is that if they ask you the scope of internal auditors work should include a review of, then Gori control my AC. So you can put up this set of point. All right, and just a one quick reading will help you, to just develop some content if they put up a question on a particular area, like review of custodianship and safeguarding of assets. So who controls the assets, who authorizes the purchase of asset, who authorizes the sale and disposition of asset, whether the recorded assets they tally with the existing assets, whether there is periodic check, whether there are security arrangements. Listen, you can write on your own. All right, and you will see that it will tally over here also. Okay, so if you have confidence on yourself, go ahead. All right, but if you feel that you should read this content once, then you read it. So now it depends upon you how much time you want to give over here. According to me, normally final say students are well equipped with the knowledge of these points, but there is no problem. Like organizational structure, division of duties, it should be proper. There should be no confusion. There should be no overlapping areas. So accordingly, you can decide whether how much you want to go ahead in detail over here. All right, so I've already explained these points in short. Then they have given few points of integrity, objectivity, independence. They will use this question. Please give a set of core principles which are fundamental to internal audit function and activities. All right, so if they use this particular set of question, then in that case, core principles for any auditor are integrity, objectivity, independence, confidentiality. All right, professional behavior, knowledge, correct. So it's not that it is something new for you. Independence, uninfluenced, objectivity, do not get biased, lack of, there should not be any lack of neutrality, you need to remain neutral. Integrity, honesty, and confidentiality of the information needs to be observed. All right, so as you can see, you will find those points over here. Correct, here they have said about IAO, independence, integrity, objectivity. All right, so you can pause and mark these points also if you want. Correct, these are the main important areas that I have marked. And then they have put these qualities of internal auditor. I mean, if such a question is asked, you need to be the luckiest attempt. All right, but just to bore you a little bit in the paper, they may ask you such question. All right, so you get this expertise, basic knowledge, understanding, and confidentiality. Confidentiality is one of the quality, one of the principle also. All right, so look at this expertise. He should have an expert knowledge of the controls, finance, accounting expertise. Only then he will be able to understand the whole system and audit it. Then he should have basic knowledge of technology and operations. Correct. He need not be an expert of technology, but at least he should have basic knowledge of technology, operations, and all other subjects of your commerce studies. All right, basic understanding of that, basic knowledge of that, and he should have an understanding of management principles, how to manage an entity. So he is not an MBA, but he should have an understanding of management principles and techniques little bit over there, and he should maintain confidentiality. So just remember expertise, basic knowledge, understanding, and confidentiality. These are the qualities of internal auditor. If they ask you core fundamental principles, explain only 3 because they have explained 3 over here. That is IAO, independence, integrity, and objectivity. All right, these are core fundamental principles. If they ask you about qualities, expertise, basic knowledge, understanding, and confidentiality. All right, okay. Now comes the little sensitive part. When it comes to internal audit report, how many questions can they ask? Listen to me. For internal auditor, there is a separate board, Internal Audit Standard Board, and it has issued standards on internal auditing. But as of now, the standards on internal auditing are recommendatory and not mandatory in nature. All right. So, as you can see over here, they have given a reference SIA 370. All right, so SIA 370, this is reporting results. So this standard talks about the internal audit report. All right, now listen to me. Internal audit report, there are 2 types of report. One is assignment based report, another one is period based report. Assignment based report, a particular area was given to the internal auditor, how he needs to report upon that. And period based report, a detailed report of a particular period. It could be quarter, it could be half year, it could be an annual report. All right, okay, so assignment based report and period based report. Now SIA 370 talks only about assignment based report. It does not talk about period based report. And anyways, these standards are recommendatory in nature, because actually in practical life the report format is decided in consultation with management, board of directors, audit committee, and stuff. All right, okay. Now they can ask you a basic question that what are the key elements that should be included in an internal audit report. That means the report that is formed by the internal auditor, what are the key elements to be included over there? Listen to me, such kind of questions are common across this chapter. Any report, what will be the main part of any report? What are the key elements of any report? All right, it should have OSA, objective, scope, approach, how that particular assignment was done. Then it will have the the findings and the conclusions of the auditor. Then such kind of assignments are also a little bit consultancy assignments like internal management and operational audit, so it will involve recommendation work also from the auditor. Then there will be views of the management who will be that will be documented, that against this recommendation what is the view of the management, and a summary will always be there. All right, so basically such kind of reports will involve these things. Look at this: OSA, objective, scope, approach. And then if the internal audit is done as per standards on internal auditing, then the reference to that. Then summary, observations and corrective action, both summaries. And then how much can a person trust this particular report, whether there were any limitations in the scopes or nature of assurance that can be derived. So this is specific for internal audit report. But earlier what I said just 2 to 3 minutes back, generally a report should include what kind of points. If you remember, make a general list of points also. You can vomit the same in internal audit report, you can vomit the same in a management audit report also, or in an operational audit report. All right. So as I told you that the content and form of report is to be actually discussed with the management, and then we need to come to that. So then next question that they can ask is, internal audit report, what is the basic framework, what are the factors to be considered, or what is the basic framework of developing internal audit report? First of all, whenever you're developing the report, you should have some base of your evidence. All right, then you should give a reference. If the internal audit has been done in accordance with standards on internal auditing, a reference to that should be given. All right, then the format needs to be decided whenever you're drafting a report. So basically, when you're drafting a report, what are the factors to be considered? So content and form of internal audit report. All right, so look at this, where some level of assurance is being provided, there is a content form given in SI 380. No need to by heart that reference, it's okay. 370, reporting results, yes, please do by heart that particular reference, and don't forget that it deals with assignment based reports only. Yes sir. All right, so we should have base, you should give a reference whether it has been conducted in accordance with SIA, then content or format of report, and you should maintain documentation of everything, documentation of your evidence, documentation of your drafts discussed with the management, and documentation of the final report. Alright, so BSF document, base, SIA, format and document, these are the factors to be considered, or an internal audit framework of reporting, internal audit framework of reporting. Alright, yes, okay. After the report is done, whatever recommendations were given or whatever corrective actions were suggested by the internal auditor, for that there has to be a follow-up. So there is a separate SIA 390, which deals with monitoring and reporting of prior audit issues. So have 390 and then do a follow-up. Alright, monitoring and reporting of prior audit issues. As of now, when you look at me, you will feel like he has had 390. Now actually I'm slogging in my schedule to give the revision lectures and to ensure that it is done effectively. So there's a lot of time being spent behind the scenes, and by that time I have to shut my shop, because currently it's a different time of recording, a very unusual V hours recording that I am doing over here. So that is the reason that you are finding me in this situation. But you should be you should be happy with the content that is being given over here. Please don't go on my appearance. I'm really slogging outside my schedule for this. All right, so SIA 390, monitoring and reporting of prior audit issues. So as I told you that whatever issues or recommendations were given, for that there has to be a follow-up. The chief internal auditor has to take a follow-up. He needs to develop an Excel sheet, that is action taken report, whether the action has been taken or not. Two possibilities: action taken, not taken. If action has not been taken, what are the reasons? If action taken, whether that action is appropriate or not. So you get your 4 marks over here. All right, so you can write on your own also. Then there is a whole lot of discussion about relationship between internal and external auditors. They have printed the content of SA 610. With this table I will discuss. But look at this, they have printed the content of SA 610 about using the work of internal auditor, which takes up around 3-4 pages of the module. So that is why you feel that this chapter is big, but do not worry, this we are covering in our discussion of SA 610. Alright, using the work of internal auditor. So in that particular essay, anyways, it is covered. You may find the notes of that essay in our app also. If you are my student, you have taken courses from me, so anyways there we have discussed. But even if you are not my students, you may find some useful notes on our app. Alright, now everyone over here. So this whole discussion they have picked up from SA 610. But this particular point, yes, this is what you can do on your role also. Difference between internal and external auditor, they have given the meaning. अरे stat audit internal audit difference यार, meaning audit of internal controls, audit of financial statements, examination is focused on operational efficiency, and this one on on the financial statements. Then appointment, management, members, user of the report is management, here stakeholders, period, continuous process throughout the period, external audit is done once in a year, yes. Then the opinion part, and then status of the auditor. Internal auditor is relatively less independent than the external auditor. All right, so you are already aware about this, not an issue. And as I told you, SA 610 has been printed over here. Okay, so I hope by now you are clear what kind of questions can be asked. There is this basic illustration too that they have put up, such kind of any question that they can create. Now these are the answers that you need to write on the spot. You are the you are the internal auditor, and you have been asked to analyze the causes that why there is a high employee attrition rate. What is high employee attrition rate? Where employees leave the company. So why will someone leave the company? All right, why there is a high employee turnover? Because there is job stress, wrong policies. Come on, this as an article you can connect and you can write, no? So 8-10 points that they have written over here. My God, no, such kind of you can remove your frustration in such kind of answers. You can write for 2 pages also, but don't control your emotions and ensure that you are coming out with good 8-9 points and finishing it off. Alright, so we are done with the discussion of internal audit. We are now continuing our discussion on management and operational audit. Now listen to me. What is management audit and what is operational audit, and what is the difference between them? Management audit is actually audit of management. Imagine as if top management is appointing you because they want to know whether the middle and lower level management is functioning as per the expectation or not. And they also want to know whether the top management itself, whatever policies, objectives, decisions that they have, whether that is in line with what the company wants. Sometimes when the company expands too much and they are not able to understand where the company is heading towards, all right, and whether the managers are giving the returns or not, at that point of time this management audit is desired. So it is more so to understand the managerial efficiency. Whereas operation audit is done at the ground level. In each operation, it could be a production operation, sales operation, purchase operation, whether there is EEE, economy, efficiency and effectiveness of operations. That means at optimized cost, getting the maximum output, optimum output at optimized cost, and whether it is giving the results that are desired, that is the effectiveness, and whether there is any scope of improvement. So it is more so at the employee level, at the ground level, employees, that operational audit. Am I clear with this? Yes. Now your only focus should be what kind of questions they have put up over here and how to answer them. As simple as that. Okay. So in management audit and operation audit, first they are saying that what is the difference between management and operational audit. All right. So look at this. Management audit is concerned with quality of managing. Operation audit with quality of operations. Management audit is audit of management, whereas operation audit is audit for the management. The basic difference is not in how it will be done. The basic difference is in the level of appraisal. Operation audit is at ground level, whereas management audit is at more upper level, middle level, top level, or even these things are covered, which may not be covered in an operational audit. All right. So this talks about quality of managing, quality of operations, then of and for, audit of management, audit for management, management audit, operation audit. Then it is not in the method, it is the level that is different, level of appraisal. Yes sir, yes sir. Okay, so never forget, just to give an explanation, that operation audit is an audit for management and audit of operations, EE of operations, economy, efficiency, effectiveness of operations, and management audit is audit of OPD, objectives, plans, policies, decisions of the top management, which will also include a review of middle and lower level management and their managerial efficiency. So please ensure that you are ready when they ask a difference between management and operational audit. But listen to me, there is one question which many students are not able to answer because they are not connecting with the question only. They say that management audit and operational audit, both of them, are complementary and supplementary to one another. Let me explain the word complementary. What is complementary? When you do something and the other thing happens automatically, that is complementary. So when a management audit is done, they will cover audit of middle, lower management, top management. Then automatically the ground level operations will be audited, Because if you want to audit the middle and lower level management, you will have to check whether they got the work done from their employees or not. So automatically while doing management audit, operation audit will be done. So complementary, they will go side by side together. And why supplementary is in addition to something. See, whenever you extend something, some additional part that is covered in management audit, as I told you that automatically employee level work will be checked, because if the employees have done properly, that shows managerial efficiency. So operation audit will be covered, plus there will be an audit of top management also. Yes sir. So this is supplementary. Plus, whereas along with management audit, automatically operation audit is done, so that is complementary. Am I clear with this? Yes sir. All right. So that is what they are discussing over here, that the two audits are complementary and supplementary to one another. So I've already explained that. First explain the complementary part, then explain the supplementary part. You can write on your own also now. So first you will explain what is management audit, what is operation audit. Then you will say along with management audit, operation audit is done side by side. And then you will say management audit includes activities of operation auditing, plus it will go till audit of top management, correct? So that you have explained how it is complementary and supplementary to each other, and then you will finish it off. Correct. Now they can ask you this particular question that if you are the management auditor, you need knowledge about few things. You need knowledge about what? Arey baba, if you are the management auditor, you need knowledge about everything. Now, about that company, what is the purpose of them, what is their management structure, what are their internal reports that are generated, their internal control system, their production, sales, purchase, planning, financial management, accounting, taxation, everything. Alright, yes, genuinely look at this. Purpose, structure, reports, internal control system, flow of function, production planning, factory layout, HR, human resource, material costing, sales, decision making, books of accounts, FM. So write here the names of various subjects over here. Alright, if they ask you that as a management auditor, you will require knowledge about few things. What are those few things? First few points just tally with the suggest answer and then write on your own, not an issue at all. Alright, done. Now we will move ahead. Okay. Why management audit is required? What is the importance of management audit? Why it is required? Desirability of management audit. Look at this. See, you can write on your own, but just to structure your content on it. Why management audit is required? Of course, to find out the managerial deficiency so that there can be improvement in the future and stuff. All that taken. But for exams, management audit is required to detect my pati, my husband. Alright. To detect and correct managerial deficiency. Pati, P, it should act like a preventive measure. So it is done before something rather than later on detecting the errors. Alright. So preventive measure, it acts as, look at this, tool to assist the overall management. Alright. Tool to assist the overall management. So this is T, this is P, this is T, tool to assist overall management. Then A for ailing industries, for ailing and sick units. It can act like a blessing, because we can understand that if because of bad management, if the company is turning out to be a sick unit or ailing unit, that can be detected. And then so this is your A and this is your I. It helps in taking proper investment strategic decision. Alright. So detect my pati. So this is the desirability of management audit, that why it is required, what is the importance. Be careful, huh? Okay. Be careful in finding out the question. Answer is fine. Then there can be a question, organizing management audit, or they can ask you about planning management audit. As a management auditor, when you are planning and organizing management audit, what are the factors to be considered by you? All right. So normally whenever any audit is planned, we need to consider about our resources, time, cost areas, the important areas on which we need to focus upon. So you can write little bit on your own, that's not a problem. But this is the problem where students just end up writing on their own and they do not write a proper structured content, and they end up losing out marks over here. Alright, so look at this. I will just structure your content, otherwise this you can write on your own. Devising statement of policy. There has to be clear scope. Boss. Alright. You need support of the top management. Look at this. There has to be clear scope. You should have a clarity in the coverage. Alright. And there should be proper support of the top management. You should have proper authority. You should have proper support from the top management. Only then everyone else is going to take you seriously. So devising statement of policy. Then The location of audit function. You should be located in such a manner in the organization structure. If it is an internal staff doing management audit, you should be located in such a manner that you are independent and free from pressures, and you should not be given executive responsibilities, otherwise there will be conflict of interest. You should not have too many managers above you on whom you will report, because you are the management auditor, man, come on. So you should be located in such a manner. Then team allocation should be properly done. You should properly select your team based upon the experience. You cannot have freshers doing this management audit, so they need to be competent, capable in handling these areas. All right. Then the staff should be trained properly. The time and cost aspects also need to be discussed when you talk, when it needs to be thought of when you're talking about planning and organizing management audit. Then frequency should be decided in consultation with the top management, whether you want to go quarterly, monthly, annually, once in 2 years, once in 3 years. In a fast changing industry, frequency should be at a shorter interval to assess whether the management still remains efficient or not. So I have a device. All right. I have a device. Let us say this is my device. This device can locate sharks. I have a device, and my device can locate team, locate personnel, training, time, and frequency. So my device can locate my personals, my teams, training, time, and frequency. So will you invest in my device, sharks? All right. So devising statement of policy, location of the audit function within the organization, allocation of personnel, the team members, then staff training, time and cost aspects, and the frequency aspect. Please ensure that you are going through this properly. Yes, it is one of their favorite question, organizing management audit. Sir, are we supposed to by heart every single line? No, but if you just read it through very quickly, then it is done. Or if you have the set of notes given by your respective professors, that is also fine. Because in these chapters, every single line is not important. So every professor will not print every single line in the notes, and that is a good approach also. But at least broadly, these things should be there with you, and you should understand, where to vomit that content. All right. Some students feel great when they have some set of notes, but they don't know how to write and what to write from that. So conducting management audit, how you will conduct management audit. So IQ, conducting, getting the facts through the interviews. So I, and Q, questionnaire. Interview, personal interview, one-on-one. Questionnaire is a full detailed list of questions with yes, no, not applicable as answers, and it is a formal questionnaire which is sent. We get the replies from that, and we try to evaluate it. All right. So in interviews, you should have personal interviews to get the desired information. You should ask, direct questions to them to get the desired information. In order to get a successful interview, you should first tell them the purpose. They should not feel that they should not take interview like interrogation, correct? So you can talk a little bit about this. Then management audit questionnaire can be a separate question of 4 marks. They have given at the end what is management audit questionnaire at the end of the textbook. So anyways, we will discuss it over there. All right. Okay. Now concluding management audit. So we understood what is management audit. We understood that as a management auditor, you should have knowledge of. See. Now here is the confusion. How many questions we have already covered? Yes, come on, quickly. So you are realizing what happens in this topic. Yes, you have to sit and put it in your brains what kind of questions can be covered. What is management audit? How it is different from operation auditing? Both of them are complementary, supplementary to each other. These are just the list of questions that I am telling you. Yes. So you should have knowledge about following. So they can say while planning management audit, what are the factors to be considered? Yes. Then that device can locate personal, team training, time, frequency and stuff. But if they say while planning management audit, you should have knowledge about you should have knowledge about some matters. So please list the matters about which you should have knowledge upon. So you have to take up all of these points where there is no need to by heart. All right. Then why management audit is required? What is the importance of to detect my pati? That is why management audit is required. All right. So be careful about the number of questions that we have gone through. Conducting management audit. So how it will be done? Correct. So IQ, interviews, and questionnaire. Yes, sir. Now we are coming to this point of concluding a management audit. So whenever you are concluding management audit, you need to ensure that you are meeting the managers, you are discussing with them the alternatives, and the corrective actions that can be taken. A detailed management audit will have a detailed report, whereas if the management audit was only for 1 or 2 areas, then it will have a short report. According that those points they have given it over here in a decoration. I don't know why they have done that. Okay, but the main points are this one. Management audit reports. Now listen to me. There are 2 types of questions. I'll be very fast with this and very clear with this. What are the main categories of reports and what are the types of reports? Now normally categories and types, these words are used interchangeably. But when they are discussing these 4 main categories, actually these are 4 different categories of management audit. Either there can be a management audit of a branch manager of a unit, or there can be management audit of a particular period like half year or quarter or so, or there can be some special investigations, not very not of a period or of a particular unit, it's just at the request of top management some special investigations were done. And then there can be a formal annual management audit. So these are actually different types of management audit, which they say that these are categories of management audit report. So as you can see, UPA is special, UPA is special. All right, so this is the code. Now, types of reports, these are genuinely different types of reports, no matter wherever you are in. UPA is special, so unit, period, special assignment, annual, no matter where, in whichever point you are. Under every single assignment, either you can have an oral report where you are orally discussing things. This is normally done before the final written report is given. All right, then you have an interim written report. So whenever the assignment is going on, in between that assignment, in between, you give a written report, that is interim written report before the assignment is over. It could be in the nature of a progress, or it is possible that it's a big assignment, so you are giving it a report in an interim period, or maybe to report some urgent observations. So that is why interim written report concept is used. After the assignment is over, there is a formal report. All right, after the assignment is over, there will be a formal report which is called as regular written report. And whatever reports are being issued for that, if there is a summary, all right, then that is summary written report. Summaries of key observations, highlights. Summary written reports are also called as flash reports. All right, so you can have this discussion oral by sir, types of reports. All right, so, or you can have zero, nice sweet dish. All right, so oral report, then special as this summaries. All right, summary report, then interim report, and then R for regular written reports. All right, don't forget each type of report. Okay, so under any of the category, any of the type of report can be used. So categories of report, UPI special, actually these are categories of management audit. And then types of report, oral by sir or zero. All right, or Rosie. Now, organization of a written report. So the formal written reports, what the organization means, look at this, they will say the guidelines to be followed while preparation of management audit report are, it should have a title, objective, scope, your recommendations, all right, or corrective actions, your observations, then what is the response from the management, some summary of all the observations and responses. So you can just write on your own, not a problem over here. I told you that these reports, normally internal management operation audit reports, it will include these points. All right, so do not get too bogged down with such kind of content. So main will be the title, I mean the head points that you're giving. Inside that you can write on your own, not an issue at all. Okay, so look at this. Then they can ask you this question: steps to prepare management audit report. This discussion, I think it's a little extra discussion that has been given, but see, this can be a separate question. Steps to prepare management audit report. Wait, so up till now for management audit report, 4 questions: categories of management audit report, types of management audit report, then guidelines for preparing management audit report, where you will talk about the format, and then steps to prepare management audit report. This is a different question. So steps should sound like steps. First, plan what you want to write in the report, gather all the supporting information, draft the report. All right, discuss the draft, issue the final report, and take a follow-up. It should sound like steps. All right, steps to prepare a management audit report. Okay, now one of their favorite ultra favorite question, that is behavioral aspects encountered in management audit. Behavioral aspects encountered in management audit. Now listen to me. I am the management auditor. You are a purchase manager, sales manager. You are into this since last 15-20 years. You are handling this purchase or sales, and I start questioning you. Then obviously you will feel bad and you will be jealous. Yes, and there can be conflict between us. So listen to me. For behavioral problems, when do all behavioral problems analyze? When there is too much of C in our life, No, wait. When there is a conflict, all right. When you feel as if I'm controlling you, correct? And when you are not ready for a change, I ask you to change and you're not ready for a change. In your life also, these are the main reasons of problems, of behavioral problems, Conflict. You see me as a control and you are not ready for the changes that I have suggested. Yes? Okay, but listen to me. We need to do this content in detail. Relationship conflict between management auditor and other personnel. So I obviously, because management auditor may feel that he is correct and other personals may feel that they are correct, and there can be relationship conflict. And the staff members, the personals, the managers may not take management auditors seriously. They may just treat them like another staff. All right. Then control, as I told you, since management auditor is going to conduct management audit, the managers and stuff may see him as a control, may perceive that top management is trying to control the middle and lower level management through management auditors. And there can be fear of criticism, that if what if management auditor complains and what if we lose our job. There can be a fear of change, there can be fear of strict action. And there is a problem, there is an attitude problem from management auditor side also, if there are insensitive audit practices, or if there is a hostile audit style. The management auditor, himself is not practicing management audit properly and is trying to exercise too much of power. Hostile audit style, finalizing the report without any kind of discussion with the managers. So why there is a cause of antagonism? Antagonism means the anger, all right, because of which the managers see you as a control and they don't cooperate with you. So it is because of their fear. 3 points on their fear and 2 points of attitude, wrong attitude by the management auditor, correct. And then whatever changes are suggested by management auditor, the managers may not usually be comfortable with that change, and they may resist to the change. That is why there can be behavioral problems. Don't forget CCC: conflict, control and change. All right, okay. Solution to behavioral problem. If PM discusses everything, then there is a solution to all behavioral problems. All right, so look at this. PM to discuss, tell them P, show it to them that we are a part of you, we are a part of an overall program. Then tell them we are here for maximum service with minimum interference. 2 points covered. Maximum service with minimum interference. And tell them that all the major observations and stuff will be discussed first and then it will be reported. So we are going to have a participative approach. All right, so look at this. You need to demonstrate to the extent possible that. So write about this. Demonstrate, PM to discuss. PM to discuss. All right. Now, in order to ensure to create an atmosphere of trust and friendliness, you need to ensure that your CRP is in control. Yes, CRP was a very important indicator. Yes, of our health and stuff. CRP, if it is high, then it shows a high infection rate. So you should always ensure that your CRP is in control. Alright. Or my god, if I write PCR. Okay. So constructive criticism. To create an atmosphere of trust and friendliness, criticize them. Tell them that you are, good, but you can be better. That is constructive criticism. Don't tell them that you are bad. Alright. Then reporting methods, you should ensure that your report has friendly but firm tone. It should not be an insulting tone. You should be firm but not insulting. You can disagree without being disagreeable. Alright. So reporting methods. Then participative approach. You need to ensure that you have a participative approach with everyone. What is the meaning of this participative approach? That means discuss the reports, understand the other person's recommendations also, and then include it in your report. Make them feel that they are participating in the recommendation. Don't just finalize the report and bitch to the top management. All right. So everyone over here, CRP. Be careful. Now, operational auditing. Harsh. Sir, are we really done with management auditing? Yes, we are not even into 60 minutes of this discussion and we are done with internal and management auditing. Now, what is operation auditing? EEE of the operations, economy, efficiency, effectiveness of operations done at ground level. Yes, okay. Now, let us understand the different types of questions. So, they are saying that continuous improvement cycle of operation audit. Operation audit focuses on how operations can be improved and how more efficiencies can be achieved and how cost can be reduced. That means it is more future oriented. All right, so we need to plan our operation audit, we need to do it, we need to check, and then whatever reports and stuff we have formed, the other person needs to act upon it. Then again we need to plan, do, check, act. Plan, do, check, act. All right, that is continuous improvement cycle of operational auditing. Now, relationship. Now this, be careful over here. Relationship between internal auditing and operational auditing. So internal audit is audit of internal control. Operational auditing is economy, efficiency, effectiveness of operations. Now this management audit, operation audit, whatever you have discussed, those are normally voluntary assignments that are done, whereas internal audit is backed by section 138. So in one fine attempt, they asked the difference between internal and operational auditing, and let me tell you, my god, students, they developed this, this particular this line presentation, internal audit, operational audit, and ये क्या table करते हो ना तुम लोग, distinguish between, and then what are the points of differences. Absolutely wrong way of answering. Let me tell you that as per the modern definition of internal auditing, if actually you actually observe what internal auditors are doing, So they are not just conducting audit of internal control. They are now getting into operations, doing that work also, and giving the recommendations for improvements as per modern definition of internal auditing. Internal auditing has been widened so much that it also includes operational audit. Are you getting my point? Yes. So even if they ask you the difference, you don't have to, actually say that these are opposite things. No, no. So these are very much overlapping areas, internal auditing and operational auditing. So everyone over here. Sir, this what? Please teach us this illustration. This is that solution to behavioral problems. They've just put it over here. Yeah. Alright, that PM to discuss and stuff, you can put it over here. Now look at this. So when we talk about internal and operational auditing, the difference between internal and operational audit, yes, tell them that there is some difference. But at the end, the conclusion will be, look at this conclusion. However, the concept of modern internal auditing suggests that there is no difference in internal and operational auditing. In fact, internal audit is broad enough to cover operational auditing also. Oh, so now listen to me. If they ask you the difference and stuff, tell them that yes, perception is the difference. Internal auditors will see things, nazariya, will see things from control point of view, whereas operational auditor will see the issues, will see the things from, yes, improvement point of view. So the perception is different. Whereas in internal auditors normally have a fault finding approach, operational auditors will have a solution oriented approach. Look at this. It is a protective function. Internal auditing is a protective function. Alright. Whereas when you talk about operational auditing, it is more of a constructive function. Issues. Look at this. There is a difference in conceptualization of the technique of operational auditing. Operational auditing is involved more in recommendation part, that how things can be improved and how future economy efficiencies can be achieved. Whereas internal auditing, has a very traditional approach, correct? In looking at the issues and stuff, it will be focused more on the control issues. The way in which we look at things, perception and issues, these are two different points, but trying to say the same thing. Purpose, alright. Objectives of when an operational auditor is appointed, his purpose is to finally ensure that whatever is the goal of the entity, it is achieved by the operations, correct? Whereas internal auditor's purpose is to find out where controls are weak and accordingly tell to the management how it can be improved. The final purpose of internal auditing may not be to ensure that the company is achieving its goal through operations, correct? So that is over here. So PO, forget GO, PO. Alright. PO, content PO, enjoy karo, perception, issues and objectives. However, at the end you give them a conclusion that the modern concept of internal auditing is broad enough to cover areas of operational audit also. So be careful over here. Relationship between internal and operational audit. Qualities of operational auditor, my god, come on man, he should be inquisitive, asking questions, he should ask who, why, how of everything, he should observe, he should be persistent, continuous effort, questioning mind, he should have a constructive approach, he should be of help and assistance rather than a fault finding person. So basically after these qualities the operational auditor will get any girl. Looks like shadi.com profile. So please be careful that you are writing over here. These are all personal qualities. Alright, qualities of operational auditor, the personal qualities which they have stated over here. Why operational audit is desirable? Now listen to me. Any businessman, how can a businessman, you need to think like a businessman. How can a businessman convince the others to buy his product? One, by saying that how his product is good. Second, by criticizing the other's product. Alright. Normally the second one is a negative approach. But just imagine that you need to convince someone that why operational audit needs to be done. And the big companies, they are telling you, hello, we already have managers. We already have internal auditors. We already have our internal teams. Why we should appoint a separate operational auditor? So tell them, hello, operational audit is different. Yes, sorry for the overacting. Tell them that whatever managers or internal auditors you have, whatever information or reports that they are giving, there are shortcomings of these resources. There are shortcomings of these sources. Yes. Tell them that they are too preoccupied. Tell them that they are too preoccupied and they have little time. So operational auditor, if you appoint separately, he will continuously focus on how operations can be improved, whereas your managers are too preoccupied. So there is a time issue over there. So time issue, preoccupied. Alright. See, basically you have to convince someone, you have to convince big companies why operational auditing should be done. Then your managers are mostly transmitters of information. Your managers are mostly transmitters of information. They transmit information from the employees, summarize it and give it to you, correct? They don't analyze the information and give you the recommendations, correct? And your managers, if they have themselves done something wrong, they will never bring it to you. All right. So it is not necessarily objective. Objectivity is compromised. It may be biased. All right. And you are talking about your internal auditor. Your internal auditor report is very mechanical and routine in nature. All right. Whereas our reports will be very analytical in nature. All right. So bang the internal auditor also. And all the reports that you have, those reports have their own limitations. They may not look at the entity as a whole and all the operations. So there are limitations of other reports also. Limitation of other reports. All right. And then they'll tell them that whatever controls and stuff you have, what if there are limitations of the controls, and whatever other things that you are doing, those are all periodic. Your survey, special investigation, all of these are periodic things. All right. And occasional in nature. It may not give you a continuous improvement approach, correct? So tell them that other things are occasional in nature. Whereas I'm going to be a special person who will focus on operational auditing. Fine. So listen to me. Finally, you have to sell your toy. TOI. Times of India. No. T. Time. And tell them transmitters. Your managers are transmitting information rather than analyzing information. O. Objectivity may be compromised when your managers are giving you the information. All right. And then your other assignments are usually occasional in nature. And O for other reports are also they have their limitations. So objectivity, occasional, others. All right. So objectivity may be compromised of the information that they give. Then other reports are also have their limitation. All right. And occasional. So 3 points, 2 points from T, 3 points from O. And look at this I. Internal audit reports are often routine and mechanical in nature. So T2O3I. So TOI. The shortcoming of these sources. So don't convince them why operation audit is required by giving the benefits of operation auditing. Tell them that why others are not that good, why other sources are not that good, and they have the shortcomings. That is why operation auditing is required. All right. That kind of approach will give you better answer over here. All right. Types of operation audit. You have functional audit, organizational audit, and special assignments. Functional audit, when a particular function activity like production function or billing function, I ask my operation auditor to do. Organizational audit, when I ask him to audit operations of a particular branch. So all operations of a branch. All right. So this is one single operation. And then over here, all operations of a particular unit, branch, subsidiary. Special assignments are other sundry assignments that I will be giving them. So functional, organizational, and special assignments. Objectives of operation auditing. Objectives. What is the purpose of operation auditing? See, operation auditing is an appraisal activity. That means critical evaluation. It will continuously critically evaluate things. What is it going to evaluate? Perform CO2. So it will evaluate the performance. Operation auditor, of course, is going to evaluate the performance, no, whether employees have achieved the performance or not. He is going to evaluate the controls, so perform CO2. All right. Then O2, objectives and plans of the entity, whether they are in line with what employees can achieve and what employees can do, and whether employees are achieving those objectives and plans. All right. Then workload measurement, productivity. So both ways, whether the objectives, targets, and plans that have been set, whether they are proper or not, and whether the employees are able to achieve that or not. Then organizational structure, same thing as I told you in internal audit also, that assigning organizational structure is who is doing what and their responsibilities. There should not be any overlapping, confusing area. One of the repeatedly asked questions, objectives of operation audit, perform CO2. All right, perform CO2. Somehow perform carbon dioxide. All right. Okay. Now, review of systems and procedures. First of all, what is the difference between system and procedure? Procedure word is used in large entities where they want for a particular activity when they want to standardize a procedure, correct? So there can be a procedure of, in a bank there can be a SOP, standard operating procedure of KYC. Then there can be a standard operating procedure of cash functions, standard operating procedure of demand drafts. All right. So when one activity in a large organization needs to be systematized, then there is a procedure. A process is always for a particular thing. All right. Particular procedure that needs to be performed by large number of people. Whereas system is a collection of procedures, which makes the overall internal control system or a system in an entity. All right. So a set of objects, when they come together, that creates a system. All right. Whereas procedure is mostly for a particular area which needs to be standardized to be performed by large number of people. Why do you need standard operating procedures? So that there can be some economic advantage. And standard operating procedure is also needed where I want my employees to do a specific thing without applying their brains. I don't want them to decide what needs to be done. I want them to give the instructions and only that needs to be done. So I want more control, all right, over my employees, and I don't want them to do as per their professional judgment. That is where procedures are required, all right. So there they are saying that as an operational auditor, when you are reviewing systems and procedures, that means the whole process that has been set up by big companies, what are the areas that you are going to focus upon? The auditor should ask himself about which areas. Thing was asked in July 21 or so, and the students were shocked what is being asked, but you can easily write, first of all, that system, procedure, whatever has been implemented, whether it is properly located in an organization. So this is the whole organization structure: purchase, sales, accounts, marketing, HR and other departments, all right. So whether it is properly located, right, that is the thing. Then TED talks, come on, whether the employees have been given training and whether they have the experience to carry out that particular procedure. Then whether a definite program, so training and experience, that is TE, whether definite program, definite clear written program set of instructions has been given, and whether employees are achieving productivity with that, correct. So locate TED productivity, all right. So these are the questions that auditor should ask himself whenever he is reviewing the systems and procedures, all right. Now we move ahead, look at this. Whether systems, now this is a little bit repetitive thing, whether the systems and procedures are actually meeting the current requirements or not. For that, what are the points to be considered? See, it is very simple. Whether the systems and procedures are able to achieve the company's goals, whether it fits in the structure, all right, whether it whether it is helpful in implementing control system, whether it is relevant, logical, whether it can coordinate things, all right, whether everyone has been given their job, and it has been defined. If there are, can there be more improvement that can be done? So in a questionnaire form, whenever you are reviewing systems and procedures, what are the points to be considered? Questionnaire form, but points are very much similar between these 2 points. And when you want to determine whether systems and procedures are meeting the current requirements or not, what are the points to be considered? Whether it is as per the company's objective, structure, control, logical, relevant, coordination can be done, all right, and everything has been defined properly, and whether there are changes required for improvement. So basic stuff, but you can write it on your own. You cannot buy it every single line over here, but you should, even if you write 2-3 relevant points, you get those marks. Examiners are searching for the students who will write relevant points over here. Then, oh my god, the chapter is ending with a very dolly point difference between financial and operational auditing. The stat audit and operational audit difference very much similar to internal and stat audit difference, but over here, what is the purpose? Financial auditing, audit of financial statements. Operational auditing, yes, EE of the operations. The area financial audit will be focused and restricted on the compliance aspect, the accounting standards and stuff, all right. But operational auditing will cover all the activities. So financial auditing is mostly with all the areas which are related to financial statements, whereas operational auditing will cover all the activities, and its focus is not on the figures. Its focus is on improving the efficiency, effectiveness. Reporting financial audit reports sent to all the stakeholders, whereas operational audit report is mainly for the management. End task in financial audit is to find out the faults in preparation of financial statements and to report material misstatement, whereas in operational auditing the end task is to actually give the recommendations for improvement. So PAR and purpose, area, reporting and end task, that is what you can write over here. I told you at the end of the chapter they have given this management audit questionnaire. It is very much similar to internal control questionnaire. You have questions, then you have yes, no, not applicable as answers, correct. In internal control questionnaire, which we have studied earlier in standards and auditing, in internal control questionnaire it is all about asking questions about internal control, whereas in management audit questionnaire it is all about asking questions about managerial efficiency. Finally the point is same, that the answers will be yes, no or not applicable, correct. It will help you to find out the managerial deficiencies. We are done with this. So that is the revision for internal management and operational audit, and I wanted to cover it within 60 minutes, so I am going to shut this video. Stay connected on my app for all the revision videos for May and November 22 attempt. Lots of uploading is going to be done, as I'm trying to slog and come out with all the content. Thank you so much.